and welcome to Posse Presents. Tonight is the last show of the year. We won't be here. The studio will be closed next weekend. So it's the last show of the year, the month, the season, the decade. So when we come back in January, it'll be a brand new season and we'll start the 8th year of Posse Presents. And so since this is the last show before Christmas, I put out my traditional request for your Christmas pictures, kind of opened it up a little bit more to your personal pets and your adoptable pets who are in the Christmas spirit. So we got a lot of response, and so Zach's like, yes, we did. He has to work tonight. Oh my God. Anyway, so I'm going to keep my chatter in the beginning of the show to a minimum, which should make a lot of you happy, and get right down to business. And, you know, if I've got any time to kill at the end, I can do so. But we do have a lot of pictures, and there's a lot of pets out there. And this year kind of has a bunch of different categories between people's personal pets and adoptable pets and some shelter alumni who are living the dream, so to speak. And it's always nice to see. So without further ado, I am going to start with a couple of my famous friends near and dear to my heart. And we will start with Juno. And there are Juno and Jake attending the Santa Claus pictures at Sweet Pea. And so, you know, they were dressed in their Christmas finest. I love the way Jake has the bow tie and, like, you know, a little suit thing going on there. The next picture is bodyguard Serena and Jake and Juno and this year's new arrival Axel, with Santa, which is always, you know, a very special occasion. The next picture is the Sweet Pea Clan. And so you've got, you know, Juno's mom, Deb, is in the picture. Serena's mom, Melanie, is in the picture. You've got Deanna, you've got Robert, the founder of Sweet Pea, Dick Clark, is in the picture. Cameron is there. And looks like Bonnie and Jennifer, and I think there's somebody I can't make out or I don't know on the side of Deb. Forgive me, but you know, you can see some of the dogs in the pics, and I know this was a great day for them. It's something that they always look forward to, done right at the shelter house. And oh, Robert, how could I forget Robert? Did I say Robert? I'm sorry, Zach? I did? Okay. He's talking and I can't hear him. Anyway, you know, we drown Zach out every chance we get. So, ooh, I know, I'm being mean. I'm sorry, I don't mean it. Again, a wonderful day for Sweet Pea to try to keep going and, you know, achieve the goal of getting the shelter back up and running. Next up, we have Hudson the railroad puppy. And this is Hudson with his siblings, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Sammy and Simba, along with Santa Claus. And, you know, gotta love Hudson. He's a dear friend, him and his dad, and his mom. So the next picture's actually got Dad in it. There you go, Richard, doing, you know, the Christmas pose with Santa and the kids, so to speak. Gotta love them too. And so we're going to roll right along to some of my friends and people who have sent in their pictures. From my friend John Clauser are his 3 girls saying hello all the way from sunny Florida. We've got left to right 3-year-old Lucy, who he says is probably the smartest of the bunch. She loves to chase the lizards. She's very loving and snuggly. She would probably choose Mrs. Clauser if she had to. Then there's Marta, who is about 1.5 years, and he describes her as being a real piece of work, very lively and still getting into trouble. Marta likes to play and torment her sisters, and she is also a mama's girl. Last is Heidi, who is an energetic 2-year-old who is almost totally driven by play. She would run and fetch all day long if she could. She is also food motivated, but would still probably choose a good game of fetch over a meal. Heidi is the daddy's girl of the bunch. There's got to be one, right? Next up, we have Tank. And Tank has had his picture up on the show quite a number of times. Tank belongs to my dear friend Lisa Gay and her crew. And naughty or nice, I don't know. It says naughty is the new nice, but Tank, he can be both, and I know this very well. I remember when they adopted him. He's an awesome dog, and gotta love him. That's all I got to say about that. He's definitely his own dog. And next we have Jameson. Now Jameson is just a little ball of squee. He belongs to Jasmine and Bubba, and Jasmine is Tank's human sibling. And if you remember, I spoke about little underage puppies. This little guy happens to be it. Found himself an amazing home with Jasmine. She said she tried putting Christmas pajamas on him and he walked right out of them because that's how little he is. Very cute little guy. I got to meet him last weekend and it was very, very hard to ever put him down. The next picture, the little bow tie kind of stayed on a little better, but still he has a little growing into it to do. And of course, gratuitously, Jasmine put up an announcement picture of his name because she kept us all guessing until yesterday, I think it was. So his name is Jameson Bean, and Bean was kind of the name that I was calling him along with a couple other things like Booger, but you can't really call a dog Booger. So this is truly and literally Jameson's very first Christmas and his first Christmas in his new home, and it's going to be a great one for him. I know it is. Like I said, he hit the jackpot, and so that's always very, very heartwarming and satisfying to be able to be a part of getting a pup from a not so good situation to a good situation. And I have my very own personal rescue partner, Christine, to thank for helping make that happen too, because without her, none of it would have happened. All right, so next up is Bobby Bear, aka Alibaba, aka Bob Bear Beetle, and he looks more like he's trying to hold on to fall with the leaf, but he is absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful cat. And Bobby Bear belongs to Jonathan Levitan, who is an amazing human being, one of the Desmond's Army lawyers, who is just incredible. And so hats off to you, Esquire, and thank you for sending in the picture of your Bobby Bear, who, as he said, didn't come from a shelter, but in his own words, was rescued from stupid people. I'll leave it at that. Zach's in there cracking up, but it's true. Okay, so next up is Daisy and Thelma and Louise in the background, and you could go between these two pictures. I'm not sure who Daisy has with her in that picture, whether it's Thelma or Louise, forgive me. But these beautiful ladies belong to, and you know her well, my dear friend Kristen and her husband John. Kristen, is the friend of mine who comes on for the birthday dog shows. And Daisy is the dog she adopted last November from the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. So she's been a perfect fit. It's been working out really well. Thelma and Louise are little old ladies, and they've taken to Daisy very well. They've become a really nice little pack, and that's always heartwarming to know that you've watched the magic happen and the right decision was made. So thank you for sending in your picture. Next up, we have Rambler. And Rambler is absolutely gorgeous. Rambler belongs to my friends Damon and Brooklyn. They were on vacation in Georgia. And I know, right? Zach's making all kinds of noises. These are some pretty magical pictures. This one and the next one, I mean, are just amazing. And they were done kind of on the fly. But they were on vacation in Georgia. This dog was pretty much dumped by his friend's house. And so they decided they were going to take him, but they couldn't take him on that trip. So they actually drove all the way back down just to pick him up. And, you know, he's about 10 months old maybe and adjusting very well to inside life and learning to be spoiled. And, you know, it's another wonderful, happy ending. But this dog is absolutely gorgeous. And I certainly can't wait to meet him someday because I'm sure I will. So there's Rambler. And next up, we have Benny. And Benny belongs to none other than Melanie of Sweet Pea Shelter fame. And Benny is actually, he's a really cool dog. He loves to give kisses, and I'm pretty sure if you're going to find him anywhere, it's going to be under the mistletoe because he's just a kissy, happy dog. And I get to see him quite frequently, and he's just really amazing. So thank you so much for sending in those pictures, everyone. All right, so I opened up the pictures to shelter animals as well. And so Animals for Life sent in some kitties who are dreaming of forever homes while they're waiting for Santa. So Animals for Life is right here in Naugatuck, right in the area. And the shelter is located at 195 Rubber Avenue in Naugatuck. And their kitties that they sent in, we'll start with Blair. Blair is a 16-week-old male. He's a long-haired tuxedo. He's very playful, and he is good with other cats. Next up, we have Callie, who is a 2-year-old calico. She's petite. She's a petite, calm, and friendly girl. She loves attention and will come to anyone who looks at her. We also have Panther, who is a dainty little girl with a big purr. A little timid at first, Panther warms up with a little lovin', don't we all? Next up is Grady, who is a handsome 2-year-old with lots of love to give. He loves visitors, he's calm and gentle, and will do well in almost any home environment. We also have Mason, who is a spunky 16-week-old who is very friendly and gets along well with others. Finally, we have Raquel. And Raquel is another 16-week-old. She's a long-haired calico. She's playful and fun-loving, and it looks like she's watching out for Santa's arrival. These guys are all available for adoption. You know, if you would like to give a cat a home for Christmas, you know, that's what they're dreaming of. You can call Animals for Life at 203-267-6777. Once again, that's 203-267-6777. Or you can visit animalsforlife.org. So, thanks to Alberta Hanko, we have some Tojas adoptables that she sent in pictures of, and we're going to start with Skylar. And Skylar, I believe, was just aired last week. And if you are interested in finding out more about Skylar, all of these Tojas dogs have their own Facebook pages. And so I'm going to direct you to the pages for more information. So Skylar's page is Skylar Longs for a Home. Next up, we have Pinto. And Pinto has been aired on the show as well. He's been at the shelter for a really long time. I'm just going to rewind for half a second. Poor Skylar was surrendered to the shelter on Christmas Eve. So give Skylar a home. Make Christmas better for Skylar. Anyway, Pinto, been at the shelter for a really long time. No reason whatsoever why. He's a fabulous dog. And he also has a Facebook page. It's called Pinto the Great. So if you would like to find out more about Pinto, you can go visit his page and ultimately the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. Lexi Mama, I believe I aired her last week as well. Lexi is one of those dogs that just can't catch a break. She really needs the right kind of home. You know, some dogs just need special circumstances, and Lexi is one. That doesn't make her any less deserving. Adopted and returned after, you know, almost a year. It was like really cruel. But anyway, Lexi Mama Wants Her Forever Home is the Facebook page if you would like to check her out a little further or follow her story. Then we have Duke. Duke is a handsome guy. And, you know, of course, I favor the name because I had a Duke who was my heart dog. So Duke Wants His Forever Home is the Facebook page if you want more information about Duke. Then there's Buddy. And Buddy is just so handsome with his eye patches. And look at that face. Dude, that's a face, Zach, that you would try to make with him like you do with Orca and like all the other dogs that you try to mimic their faces. So anyway, for Buddy, his page is Lovable Buddy Wants a Home. And then we're on to the beautiful brindles that are at the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. And you know, brindle dogs, black dogs, they're the least chosen. They're the most overlooked, however you want to put it. But, you know, they're just as beautiful and just as deserving. You know, people like to judge a book by its cover, so to speak. But anyway, we've got Diego, and his page is Help Diego Find a Home. You can follow along with him. And then there's Flower. And, you know, Flower might be, I don't remember if we ever aired her, and I think she's probably the only one of this entire bunch I might not have. But Flower has her page, Flower Wants to Get Adopted. So you can go and find out more about Flower there. And perhaps in the new year, I will actually air her properly with a little bit more information. And of course, last but not least is my sponsor dog, Juniper. And her page is Juniper Needs a Forever Home. And of course, you know, I've been showing Juniper every week for quite some time as part of my deal for sponsoring her. No reason why she doesn't have a home either. All of these dogs are so deserving. All of the cats from Animals for Life were so deserving. You know, all they really want is to be with people and in a home and loved, you know, the real basics. And so if you are thinking about giving an animal a home for Christmas, I hope that you'll consider any one of the ones that I've shown here because they are very much, you know, they're loved and cared for in the shelter, but they're certainly missing that one big piece of life, and that is, you know, being in a home. You know, they're loved in the shelters, but it's not the same. So instead of getting an animal for Christmas, why don't you give the gift of a home to an animal for Christmas? I like that better. It's a better thing to teach your kids too, if that's what you're thinking. And I'm just going to go there. Pets aren't presents. It's got to be, you know, a family decision. It's got to be something that everybody's on board with. And, you know, a pet is not a thing to give for Christmas. That's why you want to give the pet a home for Christmas, because, you know, that's just a little bit better. So anyway, if you are interested in any of these dogs from the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter in Wantagh, New York, you can call 516-785-5220. Once again, that's 516-785-5220. And I've given out all these pages. If you're not sure, if I lost you because I was going too fast, whatever, the show will be up on YouTube, and you can watch that on Sunday and get a little bit more information. And maybe make a perfect match. All right, so I'll take the camera back for a second. Thanks to John Esposito, we have quite a few of the Tojas alumni, the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter dogs, who were adopted and are now in amazing homes and celebrating Christmas. And, you know, there's nothing better than when you are a shelter buddy to a dog, or you advocate for an animal, to know that they're in a home and to see the pictures of them living life and being loved and just enjoying things the way they should. And it's kind of really gratifying. So that's why it's important, you know, if you keep in touch with the people who took care of your dog or fostered your dog, you know, it's the real feel-good stuff. And it's really why, you know, we do what we do in any capacity when we try to help animals find homes. It's the thing to see them where they belong. And also, for some of these dogs who have gone long distance, you know, I always tell you, don't let zip code dictate your love. So without further ado, again, thank you, John Esposito. We are going to take a look at Diamond. Oh, Zach.
Oh, sorry. I clicked the picture.
Yeah, he clicked the picture, he says, and it didn't come up, so he leaves me sitting here waiting for it. Okay. So Diamond is now living in Washington State. So, you know, I mean, how much further away from Long Island can you get? I don't know, but it was done, and it was done successfully. So Diamond spent a good long time at the shelter and was adopted in August of 2018. Next we have Leonardo, and Leonardo is now living in Portland, Oregon. So, you know, again, another long distance adoption, but clearly it's working. Leonardo was adopted September of 2016, and, you know, here he is, still loved, still in the same home. Nothing better than that, trust me. We also have Olaf, now known as Musha, and still living on Long Island. So this one didn't go far. And so Olaf, aka Musha, was adopted December of 2017. And of course, we've got some more recent adoptions, and we have Pia, who I think literally we just talked about either last week or the week before as having been adopted. And she is now in New Hampshire and has a dad and a human sibling. And, you know, I can't wait to see more pictures of her settling into her home, because, you know, she's still got that look like she's not so sure, but certainly looking a lot happier than she did at the shelter for the 2.5 years that she was there with absolutely no interest. So kudos to Pia's dad for coming down from New Hampshire and not letting zip code dictate his love. And so yes, Pia was adopted just this month, December of 2019. Next up we have Frankie. And Frankie was a really special dog with a really special story. You know, a lot of these dogs, there's no history, and some of them, you know where they come from, and it wasn't good. He needed a particular type of home, and, you know, bless his mom, who has made like 1,000% commitment to him. I got to see Frankie when I went to the shelter, and, you know, unfortunately, the rules, and I couldn't interact with him really, but I got as close as I could, and I just saw how wonderful and beautiful and gentle he was, and such a good soul. And John Esposito was such a champion for him, and a comfort and, you know, support for him. And, you know, it was just great to see and watch. But Frankie was adopted in May of 2019, and that was certainly a banner day. And I adore seeing his updates on Facebook and the videos that his mom posts, and it's just really awesome. You know, I mean, when you've been pulling for a dog for a long time and you see where they end up and how just loved they are and how what personality they have. It's just really, there's nothing better. So we also have Sandy, who went into foster home just this month, pulled by a rescue. I believe it was Diamonds in the Rough. And here she is. She looks like she's always been there. And, you know, while it's not necessarily a forever home, well, you know, you never know. Could be. You never know. But she's out of the shelter, and that's really what matters. She looks like she's settled in. She's going to enjoy this Christmas in a home. She waited long enough to. Saw her when I was at the shelter as well, dragging her little blankie around and breaking my heart. So good for Sandy, and it doesn't get any better. Next up, we have Dawson, and Dawson looks like he's really settled in and happy. And last but not least, we have Lester, who is another fairly recent adoption. Lester is now known as Odin and is spending his first Christmas in his new home. And, you know, these pictures are all amazing. I'll take the camera back. These pictures are all amazing. These dog stories, you know, they're all amazing. The people who sent in pictures, I appreciate it. I love to do this because, you know, it's just, it's what it's all about. You know, if it's not your kids, it's your animals. And there are so many happy stories when they're in homes, and then there are so many waiting for their happy stories. So tonight we brought them all together, and hopefully, you know, these dogs will find their homes, these cats will find their homes. And, you know, whether it's for Christmas or it's just after Christmas, because, you know, it's understandably a busy time. It's difficult to acclimate an animal to a new home when there's so much in the way of activity and people over. I get that. And I think it's also a sad excuse for people to surrender their pets just before Christmas, because I saw another one today, but I'm going to leave that entirely alone. Anyway, I hope that everybody has a safe and happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah for those who celebrate. You know, don't do anything stupid on New Year's Eve, because your pets will never understand why you didn't come home. You know, don't drink and drive, the whole bit. Hope that everyone has a prosperous and happy 2020. And as always, peace, love, and dogs. Good night, and thank you for watching.
I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I